Is it good, Demi?
Mm-hmm.
You know the name of this dessert?
Mm-mm.
It's called forgiveness.
Ooh, forgiveness, I like it.
Well, it's forgiveness because forgiveness is so sweet. And one time I was angry and I had lashed out at one of my daughters, and I just had to step away, and she stepped away, and it was a whole day before we said anything else to each other again. But in the interim, I was praying and just asking God to show me where I went wrong and everything, and what was the problem. So there was a little it was unforgiveness on my part. And he told me to make this dessert. This was her favorite dessert from one of her favorite ice cream places. And we went there and I watched them make it one day. And I said, I'm gonna go home and I'm gonna make it. And it was her favorite. So I made it, and he told me to offer it to her. And this was the next day, and we hadn't spoken to each other. And so I made the dessert, and he said, just offer it to her. So it was this pretty polka dot ice cream bowl. And while I was making it, my other kids were standing around going, Mom, who are you making that for? What are you doing? Can I have some? And it was just one bowl. And I said, no, and it was a huge bowl. I said, this is not for anybody else. So I said, go call your sister down here. And they did. And she came downstairs and she sat down at the table, and I handed her the bowl and I said, forgiveness. Oh, how sweet it is. And I put the bowl down, and she sobbed all over the ice cream. She couldn't even eat it, but her siblings did. They all went and got spoons and just started digging in. So for a whole year, I had been holding her hostage to my unforgiveness. And I didn't realize it, because we think that we have forgiven someone when we let them back in our fold, and we're kind of smiling, laughing, and talking again, but it wasn't complete forgiveness. And I didn't realize that it wasn't complete until God showed me. And what happens is we still hold people hostage to their mistake. And they feel it. We don't necessarily feel it. They feel it. And one day it just comes to a big bubble and it explodes, and all of these feelings and emotions go everywhere. And God had to clean it up. And he did. And that's why I call this. It's supposed to be strawberry cheesecake ice cream, but I call it forgiveness. Oh, how sweet it is.
My question is, what role does food play when it comes to ministry as an evangelist?
Oh my goodness. Well, one thing that I've always said, I may not feed 5,000, but I fed those who have come. So it plays a role because people are hungry and they like to sit down and eat. And when you give someone something to eat, they just kind of open up. They open up everything. And so in that, over food, you're building relationships. You're getting to know people over food. So it plays, for me, it plays a big role in that evangelical part of my life. I've always connected with food and people. It doesn't matter what we were doing, where we went. I always was the one like, are we gonna eat? What should I serve? And, so it played a very big role for me.
As a Black woman, what do you feel food means to Black people or the culture?
Oh, it was the sustenance for everything that was about us. My grandmother, that sometimes was the way she was able to give someone a part of herself and show her love in a hard time or in a celebratory time. So for Black women that I was raised up and came up around, it was about food, and through that food, it was love. The kitchen had a heartbeat, and we heard it. I heard it. So it means everything to me. I feel like I'm walking in my grandmother's shoes, and that's a part of us, of our culture, that we shouldn't give up, because it's how we express our love and it's how we put ourselves into.
Amen. Forgive.